America is a country where there has always been discrimination between blacks and whites. There, a white girl makes a black boy her boyfriend. And after this, what happens to the black boy, that boy had not thought even in his dream. In the beginning of the story, we see a boy named Krish. Krish is a professional photographer. He's preparing to meet his girlfriend Rose's family. But Krish was nervous for this meeting, because he is black and his girlfriend is Rose White. Even though there is no legal distinction between black and white people, but mentally, even today, these differences are the same. That's why Krish was nervous. Now Krish accompanies Rose to her house, which was at a secluded place outside the city. Krish meets Roz's mom dead, who talks to him very nicely and doesn't make him realize that there is any color discrimination between them. Rose's mom is a hypnotherapist and her dad a neurosurgeon. Rose's dad shows Krish his dad's photo and tells him that his dad was a professional runner. Those who had also participated in the 1936 Olympics, but could not win that race. Now, at dinner time, Rose's brother also comes, who does not get along well with Krish at all. He even challenges him to fight. Although this challenge is not serious, but everyone understands that he does not like Krish at all. Rose's brother is also studying medicine so that he too can become like his mom dead in the future. Later, when Rose and Krish are in the room, Rose apologizes to her brother for his behavior. After this, both of them fall asleep. Krish's eyes suddenly open in the night. He was feeling a bit strange, so he comes out. Only then he sees that there is a servant of Rose's house in front of him. He comes running towards her like a professional runner. But before he could hit Krish, he suddenly turns. Krish does not understand what it was and why he was doing this. Earlier also, he had found the nature of this black servant very different. After this, Krish comes inside where Rose's mom was sitting, and Rose's mom starts talking to Krish. While talking more, she hypnotizes Krish. She says that by doing this he will get rid of his cigarette addiction forever. Meanwhile, Krish feels as if he is going to another world, and only then his eyes open and he understands that it was a dream. After this, when he comes out of the house, he finds the same servant who was coming running towards him at night. Servant says, "Forgive me for whatever happened in the night." Krish now understands that it was not a dream but a reality, because now her cigarette addiction was also gone. She was not feeling good at all. The next day, there is a party here in which all the white people come, all of whom were old people. An old couple comes to Krish. The old man shakes hands with Krish and says that your grip is very good. He then asks her if you play golf. Krish says no. His wife tells that my husband was once a golf player. After this, Krish meets another old couple, and he is also very happy to see Krish's physical build. The old lady who is with him touches him and looks at him. After this, when Krish was taking photos of everyone here, he sees a young black boy for the first time. Krish goes to her and starts talking to her, but her behavior is very strange. Looks like it's an old man. Then a white lady comes over there and the black guy tells her she's his wife. That white lady was much older than him, looked as if she was his grandmother. Now this couple goes from here to that side where there are old couples. And here the black guy turns around and shows his body to everyone. Krish feels strange seeing why he's doing this. And why has he married such an old woman? After this, Krish meets another grown man here who happens to be blind. Actually, Krish already knows this because it has a photo gallery. He tells Krish that he too wanted to become a photographer. But before he could do this work professionally, his eyes betrayed him forever. Krish gets a vision here that there is something strange here. But he does not understand all this. Krish goes upstairs where he had put his phone on charging. As soon as he goes up, all the people below become silent, as if their mother is dead. When Krish reaches upstairs, he finds that his mobile is unplugged. He thinks that the black lady working here has done it, because her behavior was also a bit strange. He tells Rose about this. The very next moment, the black lady who works here comes here. She apologizes to Krish. She says, "I was cleaning here. I picked up your phone while cleaning. Maybe the charger has gone out at that time." Although she works here, she is a servant, but the kind of attitude she has, it does not seem at all that she is a servant here. This servant is black, so Krish tells her what is in his heart. He says that there are white people all around me, so I was a little nervous. On hearing this, tears start coming out from the eyes of that black lady. Looks like she was feeling exactly what Krish has said. She wants to tell him a lot. There is pain in her eyes. But the words that come out of his mouth are completely opposite to his expression. She says there's no such thing. All the white people here are so nice. We find them like our family. Krish finds her behavior very strange and he goes out of there. After going out, there is a black boy who married an old lady. Krish secretly photographs her, but as soon as the light from his camera flash hits his eyes, he becomes completely nervous. It seems that his complete personality has changed. He tells Krish to get out. Krish doesn't understand anything. He pounces on Krish and repeatedly says the same word to him, "Get out." But the people who came to the party stop him. Here, Rose's dad tells her that she might have had a stroke. Rose takes Chris a little away from here as the atmosphere here has turned a bit gloomy. At the same party, it is shown that Rose's dead are auctioning off Krish's photo. And this photo is bought by Hudson, the same blind man who wanted to become a photographer like Krish. But after losing his eyes, his dream was completely shattered. Meanwhile, Krish sends the photo of the black man he had clicked to his friend. And when his friend gets that photo, he recognizes it. Actually, he knows this man because he has been missing for many months. He tells Krish that his name is Andre. But Krish was introduced here to this man by the name of Logan. Krish's friend goes to the police and tells them that he suspects that the guy named Logan is Andre. But no one believes his words. Meanwhile, Krish now asks Roz to leave. When they are preparing to leave, Krish sees an open cupboard there. He sees that it had some photos of Rose in which Rose is with some black boys. One of whom happens to be Walter, who is a servant of this house, who came running towards Krish in the night. And among them is Georgina, the maid of the house, on whom Krish suspected that she had removed the charger of his mobile. Among them there are many other boys with whom Rose had photographed, from which it was clearly known that these were daily boyfriends. While Rose told Krish that he was her first black boyfriend, Krish trusts the only girl in the whole family who was his girlfriend. But now he had come to know that she was also lying to him. Krish starts leaving from here, but Roz's entire family comes in front of him. Chris attacks Rose's brother when Rose's wax knocks a spoon into her teacup, knocking Chris unconscious. He feels that he is going to some other world. In fact, when Krish's mom had hypnotized her for the first time, even at that time she was continuously moving the spoon inside the teacup, and the sound of spoon hitting the cup was coming. It is here that we come to know that it is a kind of voice set up by Roz's mom to hypnotize Krish. Whenever this voice comes, Krish will be completely under his control. On the other hand, we see Krish's friend who is continuously calling Krish. But now Krish is completely unconscious, so he is unable to pick up her phone, and this makes Krish's friend very upset. Meanwhile, Krish is shown who has now regained consciousness. But now he cannot do anything because he is completely bound. In front of her is a TV that turns on by itself, and an old man who was Rose's grandfather appears on the screen, who is no more in this world. He tells that he has achieved success in such a medical experiment, by which man can become immortal forever. There is a process in which a person's brain is taken out and fitted in another person, that is, brain transplant. And now the spoon is rotated in a cup on the screen, and Krish faints again. When he regains consciousness, he sees that now the same man who was blind and old appears on the TV screen, like the one who once wanted to become a photographer, who had bought Krish's photo at bidding. He tells Krish that my brain will be fitted in your body, and he will get Krish's body, and he will be able to see again. He will get a wonderful body to live a new life again. He tells Krish about this whole process. He says that it has 3 steps. First, you will be hypnotized. After that, you will be prepared psychologically, and then in the 3rd step, your brain will be transplanted. With this, your existence will go to another world from where you will never be able to come out. And I will have control over your body because it will have my mind. And now we understand the whole game, that what was happening here. In fact, all the memories are in the mind of a person. Only he knows who is his friend, relative, who is his family, how is his previous life. Whatever a person learns is stored in his mind. So according to this film, if the mind of another person is implanted in the body of a person, his whole body and that person will be in control. Like if the brain of an Englishman's child is put in the body of a villager, so he will automatically start speaking English. By doing this, the existence of that person also remains alive somewhere, which sometimes comes out. As in this housekeeper, Georgina, she has inside her the mind of Rose's dead grandmother. So when that body comes to its senses, it wants to tell something to Krish. But Roz's grandmother had control over her body, so she could not tell her. The housekeeper Walter, who is the servant of that house, was Rose's grandfather who was once a runner. So when he came into his existence, he was running in the night. After this, we see Krish who is taking out the cotton wool from his chair, and then the spoon hits the cup on the TV, and he faints. After this, we see that Rose is dead is taking out the brain of the blind man to put it in Krish's body. On the other hand, Roz's brother comes to pick up Krish, but as soon as he unties Krish, Krish hits him on the head and injures him badly. In fact, this time when cups and spoons clashed on TV, Krish took out cotton from the chair and put it in his ears, because of which the sound coming from his cup and spoon was not affected. Now Krish goes to the room where Rose is dead were waiting for him. Krish kills them too. Just then Krish's mom also comes here, who attacks Krish and moves towards the cup. But before she plays the cup and spoon, Krish breaks that cup and kills her too. Now Krish starts going out from here when Roz's injured brother goes there and attacks Krish. But Krish was full of anger inside and he kills her this time. After this, Krish comes out and starts the car. When Georgina comes in front of his car, inside whose body is the brain of Roz's grandmother, and during this time he has an accident. While there, we are shown Rose, who is on the lookout for her next victim on her social media handles. And just then she comes out from the sound of the accident and sees Krish running away. She takes out the gun and fires at Krish. But Krish somehow leaves Georgina in the car and leaves. He keeps Georgina in the car because she is also his victim, and he needs help. As soon as they move a little further, Georgina regains consciousness. She attacks Krish and says that you killed my family. Krish's car meets with an accident due to Georgina's attack and the car overturns. And now here Rose and Walter, who had the brain of Rose's grandfather inside, they both come here. He attacks Krish like a madman, but not before he kills him. Krish takes out his mobile and wakes her up, due to which he becomes completely calm. He asks Roz for his gun and shoots him with his gun, and then shoots himself. In fact, after waking up Flesh, he had regained consciousness, the way the man who had told Krish to get out had regained consciousness. Only then Krish sees that Rose is still in agony. Krish goes to her and strangles her, but he is not able to do so, because even though Rose had loved him falsely, she had loved him truthfully, had he not. After this, Krish's friend comes there with a police car, seeing which Rose starts shouting, "Save him." But it was Krish's friend who had been calling him for a long time. Now Krish could have saved Rose, but what he did in the end after seeing the police car made the police think that Krish was killing him. So Krish leaves her in a dying condition and goes with a friend. And with this, the film ends.